Hey folks, by March 5th, just a couple of days, the Department of Defense is ordering the mass deletion of all news articles, photos, and videos that even acknowledge DEI from its official channels. Everything that documented DEI initiatives, racial and gender realities in the military, and efforts towards equity and understanding that equity in historical context is set for erasure. Not just from the last 4 years, but from all time. And if they can't get it done by the deadline, they'll pull everything from public view until it's purged. Hey folks, I'm Tad Sturmer and I teach public history at Johns Hopkins. And I'm not saying that I read this stuff so that you don't have to. You have to. Link is below. Read it. Talk about it. Ask questions about it. Let's understand it. Because it's a key lesson of resistance history. We need information that is early and accurate. Early and inaccurate doesn't help us. Late and accurate doesn't help us, but we also need to be quick but not hasty in understanding it and its implications. So, what does this mean? This is a deliberate, authoritarian purge of historical reality, driven by the executive order of January 27th, you can go back and look at that one, and other sins that label DEI and the related concepts as un-American, divisive, discriminatory, radical, extremist, and irrational. And that's a quote from the executive order. Not because any of that's true, of course. It's not. But because recognizing inequity undermines the lies they now rely on to maintain and expand their power and their capacity for doing harm. The DoD directive explicitly orders the removal of any content promoting, quote, critical race theory, gender ideology, and preferential treatment of quotas based upon sex, race, or ethnicity, end quote. But it's explicitly not limited to just that. They have a habit of broadening their definitions whenever it suits their broader goals. This isn't about political positioning. This is about an ideological reframing. Even broader still, any materials that do not conform to merit-based or colorblind policies are to be scrubbed. And again, they are the ones to define what those terms mean. They aren't just deleting content. They're manufacturing a fictional past that legitimizes their claims to authority and, again, the harms that they're already causing. This is how authoritarian regimes operate. In the dark, closing off differing perspectives, ensuring that no evidence remains of an alternative to their fabrications. That's how you replace honest history with the big lie. And the big lie has always been a part of authoritarian overreach. And that lie is what will replace the honest history that so many of you work on. The pivot to their master narrative is what follows. America's founding documents must be taught as unflawed. This is also from executive orders, right? America's founding documents must be taught as unflawed. Its history must be presented as noble. Its leaders must be interpreted as righteous. And we know the complexion of that fairy tale. Hegseth's directive, Identity Month's Dead at DoD, ensures that even acknowledging cultural and racial diversity is forbidden, and that's referenced in this directive. Why? Because acknowledging difference exposes the raw, systemic white supremacy at the core of American power. Because recognizing historical injustice is an indictment, not an academic exercise. Because the reality of forced silence, oppression, and racial hierarchy is the foundation they want to protect at all costs. This is not just historical erasure, folks. This is state-enforced amnesia, the active suppression of truth in the favor of a nationalist lie. So, this is now a public history rescue mission. Pack your chutes, folks. We're going in. We don't act an entire archive of military history, especially video resources on digital media, YouTube, other social media platforms. We must preserve the truth before it's too late. So here's what you can do right now. Your phone, your laptop, your tablet, your desktop, those are tools that kill fascists. Archive now. Find and save every news article, every video, every official social media post that is about to be erased. Figure out what your interest in military history it is. Go look for it, own it. Find your lane, stay in your lane, work your lane. Wayback Machines, screenshots, offline backups. Get everything you can. Signal boost. Spread the word before they erase their own footprints. If they're going to delete the record, let's make sure the public knows exactly what they're trying to hide. And then resist what replaces it. Resist the pivot. Resist the narrative that comes next. When they swap out truth for propaganda, don't let it stand. Deploy honest history. Challenge the lies. Comment, share, post. Use the very records they want to erase against them. Commit to the truth as an act of resistance every day. And remember, the first casualty of authoritarianism, as in war, is always the truth. And this purge isn't stopping with the Department of Defense. As a lot of us know, colleges and universities are already on notice that they have until next week to erase DEI from their campuses, including their classrooms, scholarships, hiring practices, or risk losing federal funding. That deadline's coming up. The National Archives, the National Park Service, and other federal institutions, absolutely next. We've already seen what they've done to Stonewall Online. This is just the beginning, folks. And this isn't just an attack on memory. It's an attack on the ability to fight back. If they control the past, they control the present, and they certainly want to control the future. And we're not going to let that happen. So there's no time for hesitation, and there's no time for permission. Get the records, get the truth, and then get ready to deploy it. From Salem to Selma, from the war on Gaza to Ukraine, history shows us that resistance begins with a commitment to the truth. When they say to forget, to look away, to accept the stories that they are manufacturing to serve their own ends, we must refuse. They can muzzle the archive, and they can pretend that truth never happened, but as Frederick Douglass warned us, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. So let's lock arms, dig in, and keep that truth alive, no matter how hard they try to erase that.